thrilling rendition of our national anthem by the Ludlowe Band. And Thursday Night Football is about to get on the air. Possibly the best game on this Thursday night, depending on how you look at it. We see a lot of fans here. The Falcons returning home for the first time since a victory over the Trinity Catholic Crusaders. They are still undefeated at home, and they will continue that for their upcoming schedule. They only have 3 weeks remaining. They play this week against Danbury. Next Friday, we will play host to the New Canaan Rams. And then on Thanksgiving, we'll take a week off, and then Thanksgiving morning, we will have our extended Thanksgiving football coverage as Fairfield Ludlowe will take on Fairfield Ward. And a big story here is the Falcons very much still in contention for a state playoff picture. The Falcons with a win tonight, or with a win in their next 3 games, 3 straight wins. Not that that is going to happen by any means, but with a win, with 3 wins to end their season, will in all likelihood be in playoff contention. Where they end up, it does not matter. But they will at least be in it as we get ready for football on this Thursday night. Danbury coming out in their whites. They've got navy blue, falcon blue, if you will, pants. White helmets. Blue numbers and orange trim. It will be kicked away by the Hatters, and we are underway on a Thursday night. Returned by Howell. Cuts across the 20. Moving down the sideline. Knocked out of play at the 40. And that's how we start this Thursday evening affair. Falcon offense onto the field for the first time since being absolutely murdered by the Greenwich Cardinals D last weekend. Mosey, BC, and company absolutely shellacking the Falcons offensively. And it was a game in which it was kind of an odd one. Originally supposed to be played on Saturday night, rescheduled to Thursday night. And the Falcons came out with a tie ball game by the end of the first. They really stayed through a quarter and a half, and the number 1 arguably team in the state was playing like a like an unranked team. So it was very interesting to watch that as a run up the middle. Nothing from Howell. Excuse me, from Wilson on the QB keeper. Wilson will line up. Couple of men in the backfield. The snap. And Howell drags everybody with him for a good gain just short of the 40-yard line. That's where we move the chains up to, so a 3rd and short. 3rd and 3 coming up for Fairfield Ludlowe. Third down and 3 on its way. The snap. Wilson throwing. Complete. Yes, it is. No, the referees will signal a completion. Yes, it is. And Fairfield Ludlowe will move up the chains for the first time tonight on a 1st down. No huddle offense coming up on 1st and 10. Ball on the 45-yard line, the Danbury 45, that is. Wilson, 2 receivers to our near side, 3 to the far side, takes the snap, scrambles right down the gut, fires right down the middle. Not sure where that was headed. 2 receivers there, but we're both heavily covered, and we will do it again on 2nd and 10. Danbury in the whites, Fairfield Ludlowe in their home blues. Fairfield Ludlowe will be home for the next 2 weeks before traveling to Ward for Thanksgiving. One more regular season game before Fairfield Ward. We'll get a little bit into our coverage then. Down the sideline, Howell with a diving play He has got it. And that offense that just will not huddle continues to dominate in this ball game, and they are in the red zone. Struggled on the first two plays, but have put themselves right in the right near the end zone at least. As on 1st and 10, it's a run up the gut and a couple of yards on there. Falcons come into this one at 5-2 on this season after their loss last week to Danbury. That's a run. That's a big stop for the Danbury defense. Danbury coming in at 3-3, even in the FCAC, 4-3 overall. A win over Capital Prep, their only non-conference opponent. The Falcons 4-2 in the FCAC, 5-2 overall. They're tied with New Canaan for second place, behind 6-0 Greenwich. Over in the East, Darien 7-0. Staples and St. Joe's, who meet tomorrow night, are both 6-1. As this is a run to the outside, still on his feet, and at the 3-yard line or somewhere around there is where they make the stop. Really good stuff from the Falcon offense to begin this ball game. Exactly what you want if you are Mitch Ross. And this is a very important week. Their last week that they lost, they rebounded with a victory over Norwalk. Mitch Ross said the rebounds are going to be even more important than the victories themselves, as Northrop drops a ball intended for him. That would have put 6 on the board for the Falcons. Just couldn't get it. We will be keeping you updated as we move along in the FCAC girls volleyball semifinals that are inside the main gym. The Fairfield Ludlowe Falcons will play in game number 2. Darien and West Hill currently playing in game number 1. Get your score updates. Should the Falcons win, we will have the championship match on Saturday at 3 o'clock. Can't tell you if it's going to be live or not, but we will have it in some form or another. Hand off, and they are in. 6-0 Falcons. And an early start, as we are used to seeing this year. That's the start you wanted if you are Mitch Ross. 6-0, and this is probably the hardest game you're going to have to face. Hardest team that's kind of on your level that you will have to face this year. A Danbury team that didn't do so well last year, but comes in this year, and they've certainly improved a lot. And Mitch Ross said in his pregame comments, this is clearly not the Danbury team we saw last year that could roll over with a couple of touchdowns. This is a team that will fight. We certainly hope they will in terms of having a good game. Went for 2, it's incomplete. So it's 6-0 Falcons with 8:18 to go in the first quarter. Try and get you a score update as we move along. Darien has won set number 2 in the girls volleyball tournament. They are tied with West Hill. West Hill won set 1, 25-23. Darien 25-17 in set number 2. So they are tied. Going to be very interesting to find out how that match plays out. The winner will play the winner of Ludlowe and Trumbull coming up at 7 o'clock. You can look over on Twitter for the live updates. Game is not being live streamed. The second game, the game between Trumbull and Fairfield Ludlowe, is, and you will be able to watch that. So a 6-0 Fairfield Ludlowe lead, and they will kick it away. The drum roll from the band. Kuna. Little chip. Received around the 25-yard line. Here come the Hatters with a nice cut out to the 35 and a little bit past there. So again, if you want to watch that second semifinal of FCAT Girls Volleyball, you can. Over on NFHSnetwork.com, and a big run from the Hatters as they move the ball up on their first drive and their first play. Number 2, Trumbull. Number 6, Fairfield Ludlowe. We will have state tournament coverage next week. The playoffs come out tomorrow. We will find out where everybody's going. We know we've got a boys soccer match on Tuesday as a run up the middle from Danbury on 1st and 10. We know we'll have Fairfield Ludlowe on Tuesday. That's the boys soccer state playoff match. In all likelihood, it will be Tuesday afternoon. Unless something changes, we will have to go from there. In terms of where those games are, almost picked off by Jake Northrup. Jumped the line and read it perfectly and almost had it placed right into his basket. But it's still just as good as a 3rd and 5 for the Hatters in weird field position. Definitely not into field goal range. Would most likely have to punt it or go for it if they cannot convert here. And it looks like we will see a penalty. Our first yellow hanky of the evening. Ball's going to be moved all the way up. And it looks like it's going to be 3rd and very short. They were moving. One chain gang member was moving it up. The other was not. Now we move back. It'll be 1st and 10. It is 1st and 10. 1st and 5? No, 1st and 10 is coming up. Here's a run, right up the gut, nothing on it. So a penalty on 3rd and 5, something the Falcons don't have much of, or don't usually commit. And it ends up being a 1st and 10 turns 2nd and 9 as shotgun formation. Here is a run, and that is a 1st down and more for the Hatters. They move the ball up. Did he get a 1st down? It looks like he did, as the chain gang will not move, so it looks like he was actually stopped short, and 3rd and 1 is coming up. There's some more whistles coming with 6:26 to play in this opening quarter. Whistle is there. Here's a run to the outside and room to go. Stopped around the 15 and a flag is called. And that's the thing about both these teams. They both have got very similar styles of football. The Hatters and the Falcons both like to start off early with big runs. Of course, the Falcons with Howell and the Hatters with their own set of running backs, as we'll call the play back here. And they both seem to really like a faster-paced offense. Do not want to sit around for too long. Want to keep a nice rhythm to it. And that's what's gotten them the points that they've gotten. Still waiting on a down and distance as we move to second and 8. No, excuse me, 1st and 8. That's not something you see that often, as it's going to take a mountain to bring down the Danbury running back there, and it moves to 2nd and short coming up with the Hatters. Again, thanks for spending your evening with us on FSN, getting your weekend beginning. Again, Saturday we'll have the FCAC Girls Volleyball Championship if the Falcons can take a win over the Trumbull Golden Eagles tonight. They will play the winner of the West Hill Vikings and the Darien Blue Wave. There is another run. Can't get it in. The Hatters will now go to 1st, and I think that's going to be 1st and 10. But really, the Hatters, they have just had a lot of issues with their run game. They have had a couple of big runs, but just not a ton. And they haven't been big distances. This is a run to the outside, and that's a touchdown. A tie game at 6. Extra point would make it a 1-point lead for the Hatters as Augie Terry's squad evens the score up here in the 1st quarter. Big run by their quarterback. Malachi Hopkins is in. He's back up. This is brother RJ. Here comes the kick. Almost blocked, but it is up and good from Lucas Armall, the senior kicker. So it is 7-6 Hatters. They take the 1-point lead here in the 1st quarter, and Danbury certainly going to have their work cut out for them, but it's clearly a winnable game on both ends. One that Mitch Ross would really love to take away from the Hatters for a 2nd year in a row. And thanks for spending your Thursday with us. 7-6 Danbury on top of Fairfield Ludlowe. As we continue along here on what has turned out to be a gorgeous Thursday night. It was a beautiful fall afternoon today, and it's turned into a beautiful fall night. Some updates. There are some FCAC championships tonight. In fact, everybody but volleyball is in the FCAC final tonight. Girls soccer at Fairfield Ward. Boys soccer at Norwalk. Those both start at 7, as does the field hockey title game between Darien and Staples at Brian McMahon at 7, as that's a run just short of the 40, and he will bring him all the way to the 40. Nice movement from the pile, inside 4:20 to play. And the Falcons with their 2nd offensive possession of the evening. In the girls soccer final, it's a underdog New Canaan team that will play a favorited Ridgefield team. In the boys soccer final, it's probably the best 2 teams in the FCAC without a doubt. The seeding went through. The number 1 seed Danbury Hatters and the number 2 seeded Trumbull Eagles, who won in PKs here on a Monday night. That's a run. That's a pass. Complete just shy of the 51-yard line. And we move up. In the Field Hockey Championship, it is Darien and Staples. Probably the two teams you would expect to win it. They played in the Field Hockey State Championship last year. Staples getting the better of them. 3 to the near side, and they throw, and it's tipped and caught, and Howell's in. Touchdown, Fairfield Ludlowe. And Brian Howell off a tip grabs it and goes to the end zone. Nothing like a Brian Howell touchdown to bring this Falcon crowd into it. What was really a lackadaisical Falcon crowd, if you ask me, through these first few minutes. And the Hatters having struggles defensively, clearly not going to be able to hang with this Falcon offense if Ludlowe keeps doing what they do. Going for 2 for the second time tonight. Kuna not kicking the PATs. Have to find out why. This is another incompletion. So that is their second straight drive where they've scored, but also their second straight drive where they have been unable to convert on 2 points. So kind of positives and negatives to take out of this one so far. 6 on the board for the Hatters would give them the lead. Neither defense has been dominant per se through the early going. Have to find out how that shapes up as we move along. 3:41 and very fast-paced first quarter. Howell is in for the second score of the night, makes it 12-7 Fairfield Ludlowe. In the volleyball semifinals, inside the Falcon gym, Darien tops Westhill 25-16 in Game 3 to grab a 2-1 edge. So should the Blue Wave win and the Falcons win, it'd be a rematch of the 2015 FCAC Championship on Saturday afternoon. And not only would it be a rematch, but the last time that happened, the Falcons not only won the FCAC title, they went on to win the state title, so certainly history on both ends. Obviously, for the Blue Wave, history you want to forget, but still history nonetheless. History the Falcons would love to remember. It was a big state title, and back then it was a #1 seeded Blue Wave that was rolling through the FCAC and had an absolutely great year that year despite losing to the Falcons in both the state and FCAC playoffs. Trips to the far side and a run that's absolutely perfectly blocked to the 40-yard line. Goal the Hatters. First down, Danbury. And Danbury will continue to try and counteract what the Falcons did. Kind of the same way they did on their first drive. So we move down to 3:15 and counting to play in this first quarter. Takes the snap, rolls, fires complete. A big hit that's avoided. Stays on his feet and gets the first down just past the 30-yard line. But a nasty hit put on by the Falcon D. One that, well, really could have injured a Danbury player. Is another whistle coming with 3:02, 3-minute mark here in this first quarter. Takes the snap on trips to the near side, run up the middle, spinning, turning, and a first down for the second straight play for the Danbury Hatters. That's their second straight play of over 10 yards. And the run game has really helped them keep up with the Falcons this evening, especially offensively. a punch-for-punch game so far. Run to the outside. This is their 4th straight run play, and this is putting them just outside the end zone. A sliding run, and they will be placed on or just short of the 5-yard line. .2:15 to play. First and goal. A run to the outside. He's got a wide open lane, and the Hatters regain the lead. It's 13-12. It was a QB keeper for the Hatters, and Malachi Hopkins with his 2nd touchdown of the evening on as many possessions. So this has been an interesting game so far, not what you would have thought. But Danbury can make it a field goal game with a 2-point conversion. They'll go for a field goal, PAT here. And it barely knuckles through. So 14-12 Danbury, they lead it here in the first quarter. We'll take a short break. Back in a bit here on FSN.
All right, crew, let's get started. Sure.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Aiden Blank back with you on the Falcons Sports Network here at Fairfield Ludlowe High School. 14-12 Danbury in the 3rd to last week of the regular season. Again, one more game here at Taft Field. It will be their last coming up on Friday night. Next Friday night, a week from tomorrow, the the New Canaan Rams are in town, and that's a big matchup because obviously Mitch Ross wants one of those kind of marquee victories that would really help the program in his 2nd season, and they have an opportunity. They couldn't get it against Greenwich, but they have an opportunity to do that in front of their home crowd on Friday against the New Canaan Rams. And Drew Pine committed to Notre Dame, where he will be a freshman next year. He's on his way. Nice rip by Howell to the 30-yard line. He's had some great returns. He just cannot be tackled until he's gotten every last yard he can possibly get. And we go to the 144 mark, and the Falcon offense out of the field. Again, a busy Thursday night here at Fairfield Ludlowe compared to what will be an empty Friday tomorrow. Nothing to speak of except for a couple of practices. The volleyball will get a day off before the FCI championship on Saturday. No football because they play tonight, so nothing to speak of athletically tomorrow here at Ludlowe. We will be back again on Saturday for the FCI Volleyball Championship should Fairfield Ludlowe make it. So the Falcons will actually get the first down. 1st and 10 coming up.
1st and 10 Ludlowe.
On the minute 25 to play. Wilson will bunch. 3 receivers stacked to our near side. 1 on the far side and a running back with him in the backfield who splits. This is a screen for Northrop, who will run just short of the 50. Took a man's worth of an effort as we hit the 1-minute mark in this first quarter to bring Northrop down. Northrop and Howell, 2 players we didn't see too much of in that Greenwich game, but have certainly made their names available early and had their names called early in this game. the next week. Wilson the snap, drops back to pass and some pressure, releases, a diving catch is missed by Howell, but a flag is on the field and that is likely against the Hatters D. Looks like Howell might have been pulled back trying to dive for that ball. Clock stops with 23 seconds on it. And it is against the Hatters. Automatic first down coming up for Fairfield Ludlowe. And Augie Terry, the head coach for Danbury, not too happy about this one, obviously. Penalties galore on both ends so far. It's been a very dirty football game of which you don't want to really see. This is not the game that you want to be playing. Mitch Ross's D has been non-existent so far against the Danbury run. However, contrary to that, the Danbury D has been nowhere against Brian Howell. Howell pushes off a man. It's a screen to the outside. A nice run and a flag thrown as the pass is complete for a first down. Well, actually just short of it. So we will find out in a second. Carlos Moreno, number 6, completes it. Clock is running, so that's going to be the end of the first quarter unless they get a playoff, and they will not as the clock's down to 2-1, and that is the end of the first. Eventful first. Both teams getting 2 scores on the board. The problem is the Falcons twice missed a 2-point conversion. It is 14-12, Danbury on top. Take a short break. Join you on the flip side for quarter number 2 here on the Falcon Sports Network.
All right, crew, let's get started. Kurt?
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Are you thinking about buying medicine online? A search for online pharmacies yields more than 20 million results. But which ones can you trust? Medicines bought from unlicensed online pharmacies can be dangerous. You may get a fake drug, your condition may get worse, or you may experience a bad reaction. Don't put your health at risk. To learn how to find an online pharmacy that's safe and legal, visit fda.gov/BeSafeRx. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
First play of the second quarter, an abrupt start, but it's complete. First down, Fairfield Ludlowe. Pass complete to Aiden Whitecup, the captain, and a player on the lacrosse team is most likely a captain for the lacrosse team as we move along. Once again, Aiden Blank with you here on FSN. So they will set up with 3 more bunched receivers to the far side, 1 to the near side, and a running back in the backfield with Wilson. That's Kevin Quinn. It's incomplete. Jake Northrup, incomplete. 2nd and 4 coming up here. 11:13 to play. Falcons looking for the play on their wristbands. Splits the defense. Wonderful move from Wilson. Did they get a first? They did. Nice job by the Falcons scrambling out of there, and they get a first down. Third and 1 coming up. Do they go to pass again, or will they give the ball off? They will not. Wilson's going to throw. Needs to release. End zone. Incomplete. Had a couple of receivers there. Most importantly, Aiden Whitecup, the wide receiver senior, at 6 foot, 172 pounds, and he was covered by 3 guys just buried in that little pocket that they created. 10:04 to play, and the Falcons will go for it on 4th. Wilson takes the snap, play action, looking to fire. It's complete. Cutting out of there is Howell, and he will drag a defender down inside the 5-yard line, and that's where the Falcons set up 1st and goal. And again, more problems from the Hatters D that has not showed up at all. First and goal. That is a stop. So a couple of big stops pulled up from Danbury. Their defense doing its part right now. All alone for the first time tonight in the backfield is Howell. Takes the snap, scrambles, and they read it perfectly. 2nd and 10 is going to turn into 3rd and 10. The 3rd goal, I should say, and the Falcons have got to score on the next 2 plays for this to be a successful drive. .850 to play. The snap, rolling, near side, they read him again. 2 straight sacks for the Danbury D. It's 4th and goal, and they're way back behind the 25, and they got a punt, and they got a kick. Wow. It has been that kind of offensive drive for the Falcons. Now down to 8-10 in this first half. Here is Wilson. Escapes pressure. Releases. Caught, but he's not getting in. Did he get it is the question. The referees don't seem to think he did. At 7:40, the referees are saying no. Regardless, the Falcon D can make a stand here and get a safety to tie us at 14. The snap. They get minimal yardage on the carry. So again, minimal yardage. Something not that different. There's another run. Falcons can get him in their own end zone. That might be the better start. We'll find out what happens. The whistle. Pretty large crowd on hand, getting going right now. And it's a stop to make it third down. And this has been all we've thought that this game would be, and then some. An excellent job on both ends, offensively and defensively, and we can't wait to find out how this one ends in just a little over an hour as the wind begins to kick up and it's a little chillier than usual. .5:47 to play. Throwing deep, incomplete. Excuse me, a kick. Goes around the 45 and stops. 5:30 to play. And the Falcons back out on the field. And again, this has been an interesting one, to say the very least. It's been fun to watch it, even more fun to call it. There is a run that's going to lose them yardage. It will set up for 2nd and 12. .445 to play. This clock is running down, so it's been an interesting first half thus far. Throw incomplete, almost intercepted. Hatters thought they might have gotten it back, but they won't yet. Find out what happens on this next play on 3rd and 12. 3rd and 12 they could really use. Taking it off, still on his feet. Not nearly enough for a first. Find out what happens now. The Let's Go Ludlowe chant. 3rd and 22 coming up. Here's a bullet that's caught. Running, first down, more. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown Ludlowe. And again, the fighting spirit makes it 18-14 in the second quarter. And the Falcons are out to a 4-point lead. They can make it 6 with a conversion. We'll see if Kuna comes out now. A big touchdown from the Falcons when they needed it most. On 3rd and 22, they end up scoring. Going for it. Rolling. And he is down. The Falcons are 0 for 3 on 2-point conversions, but they'll take the 18-14 lead as we move along here at Fairfield Ludlowe. 3:43 to play in the second quarter. Taking a look at some of these upcoming schedules. Again, the Falcons will be at home against New Canaan next week. 6 o'clock start, 5 p.m. FSN tailgate. Danbury does not have the easiest road. They've got Greenwich next week, 7 o'clock at Danbury. And then Ridgefield again at Danbury. So 2 home games to close out the season. Ridgefield the night before Thanksgiving. They do not play a Thanksgiving game. But those are 2 very tough matchups to win. And if they can't win this, they could end up going 0-3 to end the season. Not what you would want from a team that is really breaking even right now in the FCAC. 3-3, 4-3 overall. For Danbury, they beat Trinity in week 1, 27-22. Lost to New Canaan 42-6 in week number 2. They defeated West Hill 52-20 in week 3. Got another win in week 4 against Capital Prep. Lost to Ward 2 weeks in week number 5. In week number 6, they lost to Trumbull 32-26. A 35-21 win last week over the Norwalk Bears. And Norwalk is certainly downgraded from a team that really could have been kind of how West Hill was last year, a team that really could compete with the rest of the conference. That's kind of how you would expect, but it's not turned out that way for the Bears. It's a Bears team that has just not played up to their standards this season, has had some tough losses, including to both these teams, and there is a nice stop. Darien has played an excellent game against the previously undefeated West Hill Vikings team and has played very well to try and reach that final. That ball is just out of the reach of the Danbury receiver. It was Jude Amunawake. Amunakwe. And he is unable to pull it in. Danbury will have to punt again. Flag on the play. Punt went up anyways. Coming all the way back. The flag on the play will move everybody back, so the Falcons a chance to make this a two-possession game or close to it. As we move closer and closer to the final buzzer here in this first half. DAF Media, the Darien Athletic Foundation, is live streaming the FCAC Field Hockey Championships. You can watch the Boys and Girls Soccer Championships at fairfield.live. That ball rolls out. And the volleyball again will be live streamed on the NFHS network coming up at 7 o'clock when this first game is over inside the main gym. Fairfield Ludlowe will take on the Trumbull Golden Eagles. 2 minutes and 24 seconds to play in the second quarter. Wilson, man in the backfield, 3 receivers to the far side, releasing downfield, and what a catch! But it is dropped on the 15-yard line, and they're unable to reel it in. It was Adam Wyckoff who made an extraordinary effort to make the play, but couldn't. With 2:17 in the second quarter, it's 2nd and 10 for Ludlowe. 18-14 your score. Needing something to go on here in halftime. Takes the snap, drops back, plenty of time, near side, it's caught, and they get him out of bounds. Oh no, they will not. The clock's gonna continue to run. As we approach the 2-minute warning here in this first half, the clock continues to run. We move along. 2-minute mark is here. It's 2:01. Clock will run. Will run again. Takes the snap. Near side. It's way overthrown. Put a man on the ground. That was Nykeem Hopkins, or Hawkins, I should say. It's gotten oddly quiet. The Nest still out in full force very much here. They'll be heading in just a bit, most likely at halftime. Let's go watch the girls' volleyball game. They've been to a couple. And that gym just gets electrified when the students get in there. Wilson a throw. Northrup catches, makes a first down, and just a bit more at the 1:35 mark here in the second quarter, and they will go for the end zone here. Third and 1 coming up for Fairfield Ludlowe. Takes the snap. Room to go, and that's the 1-minute mark where the clock will stop here in this second quarter. little bit of a run with 38 seconds. Whistle's coming once more. Stops the clock at 37. "37 seconds and a timeout was called." That's what the stoppage was. And they are back out on the field to go. He's got room, but nothing up the middle. And popping out of it there was Dylan Fragomeni. 29 seconds, and another timeout is called. Don't think the Falcons have any left. If they do, there would be one. "29 seconds to play in the second quarter. And Ludlowe has got an opportunity to add some scores on. Here we go. Room, but incomplete with 24 to go. 3rd and 2 coming up. No, excuse me, 4th and 2. So on 4th down, this is going to be a big play. Opportunity to score, but no, it's a turnover. So the Falcons, at the very least, will take the 4-point lead and run with it into halftime. "21 seconds still to be played, but in all likelihood, this is going to be it. Unless the Hatters can pull off something just short of a miracle. Would march almost the entire field. Would be very, very interesting indeed. "10 seconds. Will they need again is the question. 10 seconds, and they will. So that's halftime. The Falcons will take an 18-14 lead into the half, and they are rolling with it here on FSN. We'll take a short break. Second half when we get back. It's Ludlowe, it's Danbury. It's Thursday Night Football on the Falcon Sports Network.
All right, crew, let's get started. Sure.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Are you thinking about buying medicine online? A search for online pharmacies yields more than 20 million results. But which ones can you trust? Medicines bought from unlicensed online pharmacies can be dangerous. You may get a fake drug, your condition may get worse, or you may experience a bad reaction. Don't put your health at risk. To learn how to find an online pharmacy that's safe and legal, visit fda.gov/BeSafeRx. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Making is, in essence, telling a story. Every time I make something, I'm telling a story. When a kid gets their hands on the world and learns that they can make their fantasy play, that they can make their reality, that's power. As far as I'm concerned, everyone should feel that kind of power. So if there's something that interests you, go figure out how to do it. Go tell your own story. There it is. I want to know why you make.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
Both my legs were amputated due to an IED. It's when you start to try to get back into like an everyday life. I absolutely felt like I lost some of my purpose. There must be something more. When DAV came into my life, they gave me a new mission. I could still be a productive member of society, could still support a family.
The DAV gave him that sense of structure and purpose again to get his life back together.
Visit DAV.org to learn more about our mission.
We believe in patriotism. We believe in our nation's youth. We believe veterans earn their benefits through their service to our nation. We believe in a strong national security. We believe in our country. For 100 years, veterans have been impacting our nation through the American Legion, and we believe it makes a difference. If you believe, learn more at legion.org/webelieve.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with an SPF of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Meet Blue. Blue's not feeling well. The prescription? Generic medication. Blue wonders, do they really work as well as name brands? Yes, generics and name brand medications do work the same. Even though they may look different, generics have the same key ingredients. FDA approval is equally rigorous for generics to make sure they're as safe and effective as name brands. And Blue even saves some green, making him a little less, well, blue. Talk to your doctor about generics and visit fda.gov/generic drugs.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer: the Drug Facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the drug facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/drug facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
I was diagnosed at 65.
37. Earlier than most.
Every 9 minutes, someone is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
And every one of them can turn to the American Parkinson Disease Association. Visit apdaparkinson.org to learn more and show your support today.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
Oh, hi. I suppose you're wondering what an A-list celebrity like me is doing in a place like this. You must know, I'm saving the world. Oh, hi, Beth. Yep, saving the world again. Did you know that 40% of all the food produced in the United States is thrown away? That means everything that went into that food, the pesticides, the water, the land, was all for nothing. Just look at this perfectly good food thrown in the trash. The pizza with extra Cheerios, these goldfish and Band-Aid tacos. And just look at this perfect trash burger. This pasta dog looks delicious.
You don't have to dumpster dive like Ed Begley Jr. to save the planet. Fight food waste by shopping smart and using what you buy before it gets trashed.
That's way better. Ooh, arugula.
Do your part and find out other world-saving tips at betterthaned.org.
What would happen if I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors? What would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? So you can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
Is me, you, anyone that wants to be.
There is no typical firefighter.
We farm about 3,500 acres. There's pipelines everywhere. The contractor working on my property did not have the lines located before he began work, and it resulted on a strike on a natural gas pipeline. Fortunately, no one was hurt, but it could have been much worse. Calling 811 or visiting clickbeforeyoudig.com in the U.S. only takes minutes to do, and it can save your life.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
Anyone can fall victim to moving fraud. Know your rights and responsibilities.
There was never really a valid contract.
Movers must always give written estimates.
I was bound to an estimate, but it was after the fact.
Be sure that any document is complete before signing it, and that it includes information to determine the final charges.
It was a version that I had not seen before.
Visit protectyourmove.gov to download a free moving fraud prevention guide. Search for registered movers and view their complaint histories. Move with confidence.
Matthew.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. And what you say really does matter to me.
All the talks we've had over the years, including what you've told me about not using alcohol and other drugs, they stick with me, and they make a difference, especially at times that matter most.
Hey, want a drink?
No thanks, I'm good. So thank you, Dad, for preparing me for what's ahead.
Thanks, Mom, for always being my biggest fan.
Thank you for talking.
All right, crew, let's get started. All right.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Are you thinking about buying medicine online? A search for online pharmacies yields more than 20 million results. But which ones can you trust? Medicines bought from unlicensed online pharmacies can be dangerous. You may get a fake drug, your condition may get worse, or you may experience a bad reaction. Don't put your health at risk. To learn how to find an online pharmacy that's safe and legal, visit fda.gov/BeSafeRx. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Making is in essence telling a story. Every time I make something, I'm telling a story. When a kid gets their hands on the world and learns that they can make their fantasy play, that they can make their reality, that's power. As far as I'm concerned, everyone should feel that kind of power. So if there's something that interests you, go figure out how to do it. Go tell your own story. There it is. I want to know why you make.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
Both my legs were amputated due to an IED. It's when you start to try to get back into like an everyday life. I absolutely felt like I lost some of my purpose. There must be something more. When DAV came into my life, they gave me a new mission. I could still be a productive member of society, could still support a family.
The DAV gave him that sense of structure and purpose again to get his life back together.
Visit DAV.org to learn more about our mission.
We believe in patriotism. We believe in our nation's youth. We believe veterans earn their benefits through their service to our nation. We believe in a strong national security. We believe in our country. For 100 years, veterans have been impacting our nation through the American Legion, and we believe it makes a difference. If you believe, learn more at legion.org/webelieve.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with an SPF of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Meet Blue. Blue's not feeling well. The prescription? Generic medication. Blue wonders, do they really work as well as name brands? Yes, generics and name brand medications do work the same. Even though they may look different, generics have the same key ingredients. FDA approval is equally rigorous for generics to make sure they're as safe and effective as name brands. And Blue even saves some green, making him a little less, well, blue. Talk to your doctor about generics and visit fda.gov/generic drugs.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer: the drug facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the drug facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/drug facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
I was diagnosed at 65.
37. Earlier than most.
Every 9 minutes, someone is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
And every one of them can turn to the American Parkinson Disease Association. Visit apdaparkinson.org to learn more and show your support today.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
Oh, hi. I suppose you're wondering what an A-list celebrity like me is doing in a place like this. You must know, I'm saving the world. Oh, hi, Beth. Yep, saving the world again. Did you know that 40% of all the food produced in the United States is thrown away? That means everything that went into that food, the pesticides, the water, the land, was all for nothing. Just look at this perfectly good food thrown in the trash. The pizza with extra Cheerios, these goldfish and Band-Aid tacos. And just look at this perfect trash burger. This pasta dog looks delicious.
You don't have to dumpster dive like Ed Begley Jr. to save the planet. Fight food waste by shopping smart and using what you buy before it gets trashed.
That's way better. Ooh, arugula.
Do your part and find out other world-saving tips at betterthaned.org.
What would happen if I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors? What would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? So you can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
Is me, you, anyone that wants to be.
There is no typical firefighter.
Back on FSN, Ada Blake, thanks for joining us for the second half of what has been a nail-biting affair so far. The Fairfield Ludlowe Falcons 18 and the Danbury Hatters 14. The first kick of this second half is squibbed, and a whistle is blown, a flag, and it will be re-kicked. So it's an offsides on Fairfield Ludlowe, the kicking team, and they will have to re-kick it. Time will not be taken off the clock. Again, thanks for joining us. We'll have the FCAC Girls Volleyball Championship if Fairfield Ludlowe wins on Saturday. If not, we move to state tournament coverage all next week, and we're thankful to have it here on the NFHS Network. So Victor Kuna Part 2. And in this case, the sequel is going to be a little bit better than the original. It's a squib. Did they touch it? Yes, they did. But Danbury will recover around the 30-yard line. It went off the finger of one of the Danbury receivers. That was Jude Amunakwe. And Amunakwe unable to handle it, but received by another Hatters. So Danbury will keep it to begin this third quarter. And that's where they begin. Ball will be placed on the 32. And down to 11:57 to play in the third. Danbury with the ball, trailing 18-14 here on FSN and WFLD. Trips to the far side, a snap, handoff up the middle, and it's a couple of yards on the ground to begin this game, or the second half at least. For Danbury, they ran the ball a whole lot in the first half, and it was really what got them those 2 touchdowns. In the end, it was Fairfield Ludlowe's ability to throw the ball that got them their 3. Rolling to the far side is the quarterback who is still on the field, Malachi Hopkins. He is stopped, but after running for a first down, Hopkins is done a lot of running and is a junior. Augie Terry, the head coach of the Hatters, has to be really happy with the performance he's seen, not just from one Hopkins, Malachi, but RJ as well, the younger version. He's actually a senior. Now a whistle coming and no gain whatsoever on the 45-yard line as the clock hits 11 minutes. Danbury coached by Augie Terry, his assistants Brandon Davis, Leroy Johnson, Rich Romaine, Tim Smith, DJ Williams, Dante Williams, and Lonnie Young. Trips to the far side. Man to the backfield, and it's split receivers, one on each end. Took an extra second to get this play call right. 10:35 to play in this opening quarter of the second half. It's a run up the middle, nothing gained. Maybe a yard or two if we're going to be technically proficient. Nothing really much more than that. Whistle blows. That will signal beginning of the next play. The Nest not wanting to leave this one, even if it's going to be much warmer inside. Speaking of inside, that's a run. He is gone. There goes the running man, pushed out around the 20. And a run from the Hatters' own Malachi Hopkins, the quarterback, puts him inside the red zone. Inside the gym, Darien loses a 12-11 lead. The West Hill Vikings win the fifth and final set, 16-14. An unbelievable performance, according to the Darien Athletics Twitter. And Fairfield, Ludlowe, and Trumbull are soon up in the FCAC semis. So the winner of Ludlowe-Trumbull plays West Hill in Saturday's final. And if Trumbull should advance, it would be the third year, or excuse me, it will, because Fairfield Ludlowe won 4 years ago, be the third year in a row. Excuse me, no, if Trumbull wins, it will be the third year in a row that we have two brand new teams in the FCAC championship for girls volleyball. It just shows you how unpredictable that conference can be. School buses are all around this field because you've got one for Danbury, you've got one for both the team, two for both the teams inside. You've got one, of course, for the Trumbull Golden Eagles. So that's 4 school buses that are all parked around the outside and waiting to depart. Big stop for the Falcons that'll put up 2nd and 16. The cowbell has come out. We heard it a lot in Greenwich from the Greenwich fans last week. 2nd and long. It's 2nd and 18. Ball is on the 28-yard line. Hatters looking to regain the lead. A touchdown would do just that. Field goal puts them within 1 at 18-17. Shotgun formation. Snap goes to Hopkins, who hands it off. And a dash that will put him back at the line of scrimmage a little bit further, maybe. 4th down is coming up. And Malachi Hopkins, talk about a kid that is taking control of this team. As a junior, he has full control over this offense. And yeah, they do have a little bit of issues, but the issues tonight have not been offensively for the Hatters. Their offense, time and time again, has shown up. Hopkins, a big part of that, drops back to pass, will run. Couple of yards, but not nearly enough. On 3rd and 9, it's going to come up to 4th and short, 4th and medium likely. 4th and we'll say 5 or 6. When all is said and done, Malachi Hopkins ran it, but not far enough. See if they keep him on. They will not, as Lucas Arnold, or Amaral, excuse me, will come out to kick, the senior. It's a pretty decent long field goal. It's about 33 or so yards. Ball on the 22-23 yard line. It is down, up, and a nice booming kick. Impressive one from Lucas Amaral, and it is a field goal. It's 18-17. here in this ballgame. Morrill certainly has shown some range tonight at a 30-yarder. Would like to try and test his range. If you're the Falcons, you don't want it to come down to that, obviously, because as soon as it does, he will hit that game winner. (18-17) Fairfield Ludlowe on top. Thanks for joining us here on the NFHS Network. Fairfield Ludlowe still clinging to that 18-17 lead after the field goal. Welcome back to the Falcons Sports Network and WFLD. Aiden Blank, thanks for spending part of your Thursday night with us. And a marquee matchup between a 500 ball club in Danbury and a Ludlowe team that is continued to impress every single week. It's Howell out of the back of the end zone, just short of the 25-yard line. Drags his, as usual, the entire Danbury defensive unit with him, and it will remain 18-17 as Colin Wilson will look to give Ludlowe some more points and not keep it at one possession. 7:11 to play, and that's where the clock stops in this third quarter. First drive of the second half by Danbury. All the way down the field they went for a field goal. Again, impressive distance by their senior kicker, Lucas Amaro. Run to the outside, and they got more than enough for a first down as Wilson will back him down for a first, and Fairfield Ludlowe converts on the QB keeper. 7 minutes to play in this third quarter. Again, the time is kind of really sped up in this game. Both these teams have certainly impressed in the FCAC thus far. Danbury, the tougher of the two schedules down the stretch. Ludlowe has to play a very good Duquesne team next week, but then after that, it is Fairfield Ward on Thanksgiving morning, as here goes Howell across the far side on a complete screen, brings everybody across the first down marker, and Ludlowe will convert on 1st and 10. They will get another 1st and 10. The ball will be moved up to the 49-yard line, just short of midfield, is where the Falcons will continue. As I was saying, Danbury still has to play Greenwich next week. The league-leading undefeated 6-0 Greenwich Cardinals, and then the Ridgefield Tigers, who have had a down year to their standards, losing to Staples and Darien, among others. They've lost to any of the top teams as this ball lofted down the near side. Incomplete. Howell dove for it at the 40-yard line, but couldn't get on it. 5:57 to play in the third quarter, and Danbury has held their own here so far defensively after a lackluster first half on defense. Fairfield Ludlowe will try and convert. Wilson with 3 receivers to the near side. It's thrown, complete to Howell, room down the near side, but he stepped out of bounds just after catching it right near the first down marker. 1st and 10 is coming up for the Falcons, a third conversion in 5 plays. They are certainly marching down the field quickly, and again, the air ball is what has brought them to, and Brian Howell as well, is what has gotten them their touchdowns so far. They've got 3 of them, all with failed two-point conversion attempts. No word as to why Victor Kuna is not kicking on this evening. He has been out there, though, for the kickoffs. Howell takes the snap on 1st and 10, looks down the far side of the field. It fell into a Hatter's hands, but slipped right out. It was incomplete, right in the hands of Jude Amunakwe. The defensive back had it and let it slip right out of his hands. And the senior unable to keep it, so the Falcons will get some luck there. Clock stops with 5:54 to play in the third. Fairfield Ludlowe still driving down the field. Three receivers near side. That's where Howell wants to throw, Wilson wants to throw. It's complete to Aiden Wyckoff, just short of a first down. And Aiden Wyckoff has had himself a night. Couple of big catches and big carries for the Falcons. A big part to their offensive success on this gorgeous and what began as an overcast evening has now moved to a very crystal clear sky, and it's an absolutely gorgeous night for football. And for those of you making your way over to Ludlowe for game number 2, gorgeous night for volleyball as well. As they would say, a beautiful night to be indoors. Favoritism shown to the far side, 3 receivers. They will go near side, though. It is incomplete. No catch is called. Oh, no, it is a catch. Wyckoff drove to grab it, and the Falcons convert again. It's 1st and 10. They continue to convert. That is 4 on this drive. The nest is still here. Not wanting to leave what has been an exciting one so far. Will make their way to the gym as that ball is caught by Coleman into the end zone. Touchdown, Ludlowe. And a big touchdown for Fairfield Ludlowe. And what a catch by Aiden Wyckoff, the captain. And it is 24-17. Wyckoff controlled it in the end zone. And for the first time tonight, it's Victor Kuna for the PAT. He is 1 for 1 as he splits the uprights and makes it 25. No, they actually mark it no good. Referees will make the motion that it is no good, but it is, in fact, good. It's 25-17 with 4:32 to play in the third quarter. Take a short break, back in a bit here on FSN.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with an SPF of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Back on FSN, it's 24-17. The Falcons out to a 7-point lead, the largest of the night for Fairfield Ludlowe, and Mitch Ross's bunch has certainly played to both sides of the ball in this third quarter. They've got the lead. Now the question on the squib is, can they hold them on defense? A big stop around the 35-yard line. A very minimal return from Danbury, and they will pick it up on the 35, their own 35. And for Danbury, these touchdowns really don't mean anything as long as Malachi Hopkins is in the game. He has played absolutely perfect, an A-plus game out of the quarterback and the rest of his offense. It's been the defense that has slipped up and let the Hatters fall in this game. 24-17 Fairfield Ludlowe with 4:26 to play in the third quarter. as it's trips to the far side, and it's a run to the far side. Nice movement on the ground, and Danbury will get the run with David Sigtu. Yes, that is hyphenated. David Sigtu on the run and a couple of yards. It's going to be second down and medium manageable for the Hatters. Again, the run killing the Ludlowe defense. They've got to find an answer. They have not all night. They will give it right back up the middle, and it's a run, but not nearly enough. Third and short for the Hatters. That was Malik Thomas, the running back, an outside linebacker, the senior at 6 feet, 200 pounds, who put all 200 pounds of him right up the middle as trips to the near side. Trips has been something they've used a lot in this game. It's play action, pass is complete, and a first down right on the midfield marker. Pass caught on the near side by R.J. Hopkins, the defensive back and wide receiver. A lot of these players playing both ways, especially the wide receivers. R.J. Hopkins, Devin Smith, a sophomore, senior, Jonathan DeJesus Nunez. A lot of them playing both ways, and that's something that Danbury absolutely can use in their favor. 2nd and 3 coming up. Ball is on the 42. Trips to the far side. A run. Straight up the gut, and he is gone. 20-10, stopped inside the 5. What a run by Sigtu. Malik Thomas straight up the gut. No one can stop him. But a tailing defensive back. And as we hit the 3-minute mark, Danbury is in position to tie. Play action, he'll take it himself. And a stop. Hopkins unable to get in the end zone. Ball is going to be spotted just near the 1-yard line. 2:40 to play in this third quarter. Trips to the near side. The snap, the give, right up the gut, and he is in. Touchdown, Danbury. And the Hatters tie this ball game with 2:24 to play in the third quarter. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a game here at Taft Field. Not that much different than it was last year. A little less scoring, but still an absolute shootout that Fairfield Ludlowe seems to have the edge on as we move late in the third quarter. Back on for the PAT is Lucas Amaro. The kick, the hold, and everything about it is crystal clear, perfectly good. And Danbury ties us at 24 here in the third quarter with 2:24 left to play. We will take a short break. The Falcons and the Hatters, last drive of the third when we get back here on FSN.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer? The drug facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the drug facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/drug facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Welcome back to Taft Field. Aiden Blank, thanks for spending part of your Thursday evening here on FSN and WFLT. Fairfield, Ludlowe, and Danbury deadlocked at a 24 tie here in the third quarter with 2:24 to play. The touchdown from Malachi Hopkins, who handed it right off, and he orchestrated that drive perfectly. Couldn't have gone any better. And the Falcons will have to counter yet again. Have not been able to keep a lead very long this evening as the Hatters have played an excellent game offensively. 2:24 to play in the third. Ball will be kicked off from the 35, a normal kick from the Hatters. Punted in the air, end over end. Howell's got it at the 10 or just inside the 10. Rolls near side, splits a couple of defenders. There goes Brian Howell. Put the kicker on his butt, and he's inside the 50-yard line, and that's where the Falcons take over. Another big return from Brian Howell. What a surprise. The guy who's gotten them big returns all season gets them another. And after a week where James Bork, their returner, got very little in terms of returns against Greenwich, the Falcons will take their offense onto the field with a minute or just. So Wilson will take the snap with 3 to the far side. And it is a screen. That's incomplete. 2:08 to play. Mitch Ross trying to orchestrate a drive that would give them another 6-point lead, 7 or 8, depending on what they do on the PAT. Ball will be spotted on the 45-yard line, so the Falcons into Hatter territory. Waiting for the play call from their sideline. Holding up some signs. And once again, 3 bunched to the far side in terms of receivers. The snap, Wilson all alone. Hits Wyckoff across the middle. Tackled down, brought inside the 15-yard line. And Fairfield Ludlowe is into the red zone here at Taft Field. Once again, with a minute 55 to play in the third. Everybody moves up, including the chain gang. It's 1st and 10 Ludlowe. And in a game like this, where neither side has really shown they've got the upper hand offensively or defensively, that play could end up being one of the turning points in this game if Ludlowe can pull off a stop on their next defensive possession and get some points on the board here. A minute 51 and counting on the clock here in this third quarter. Certainly going to have a good one coming up in the fourth. This is a give on first to Moreno. Carlos Moreno right up the gut. And the 164-pound junior busts his way right up the gut. 2nd down and medium for the Falcons. 2nd and 4 is the official call. The Falcons do not huddle a ton. Almost every play they're looking to the sideline to get the call. Split receivers, including Northrup on our near side. This is a sweep for Moreno, couple of yards gained inside the 10-yard line with 56 seconds accounting. And they have an opportunity to take the lead as we run the clock here in the third quarter. Fairfield Ludlowe has done an excellent job offensively. It's been the defense that has kept Danbury in this game. Danbury's offense is clicked too. As a timeout will be called, we'll take one with you. 24-24, and the Falcons driving in the red zone. Back in just a bit. You're listening to Fairfield Ludlowe Falcons football here on WFLD.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
The Falcons are back out after a nice drive that puts them in the red zone. And we'll look to cap the drive off with 30 seconds on the dot here in the third quarter. They will look to cap it off with a touchdown that would make it 30, extra point 31, 2-point conversion 32 to 24. Danbury has certainly put up some big numbers all season. And compared to what they put up all season, this is kind of quiet for them. A quiet night, even though the Falcons D has really let the Danbury offense have their way. They're actually going to measure this first down conversion, and they definitely did not. It is pretty clear that it is going to be 3rd and inches. Fairfield Ludlowe unable to convert. So on the timeout they measure, Fairfield Ludlowe cannot get it. And it is 3rd and inches coming up for Fairfield Ludlowe. Danbury could really use a stop, force them to a field goal and not have to drive down the field looking to tie the game. Drive down with your big quarterback Malachi Hopkins looking to score a touchdown and take the lead. Either way, they'd be looking for the touchdown from Hopkins on their next drive offensively. Whistle blows, and we will resume play here in the third quarter. Just waiting on a second whistle that was just blown. Hatters player's got to tie his shoe. So Danbury is going to likely go into a blitz formation and try and nab Wilson before he can give the ball away or let the ball go. 3rd down and inches coming up for Fairfield Ludlowe as the Hatters are all set defensively. And the third whistle coming. This is going to be trips to the near side. The snap right to Howell, and he is in. Brian Howell for the touchdown, and Fairfield Ludlowe continues to roll offensively. It is 30-0. 30-24. And Brian Howell continues to put the ball in the end zone. 30-24 with 26 seconds to go in this third quarter. Kuna actually missed his first PAT. He will easily make number 2. 31-24, the Falcons a touchdown lead, ties their largest of the night. Back in just a bit. You're listening to Fairfield Ludlowe Falcons football on WFLD.
Yes. Oh, hi. I suppose you're wondering what an A-list celebrity like me is doing in a place like this. You must know, I'm saving the world. Oh, hi, Beth. Yep, saving the world again. Did you know that 40% of all the food produced in the United States is thrown away? That means everything that went into that food, the pesticides, the water, the land, was all for nothing. Just look at this perfectly good food thrown in the trash. The pizza with extra Cheerios, these goldfish and Band-Aid tacos. And just look at this perfect trash burger. This pasta dog looks delicious.
You don't have to dumpster dive like Ed Begley Jr. to save the planet, right?
So Fairfield Ludlowe, the 31-24 advantage. After the touchdown, it's recovered on the attempted squib kick. And Danbury gets first possession. With 20 seconds to play in the third, needing a touchdown to tie. With a conversion for 2, that would give them the lead by a point. Get you some updates from girls volleyball in the main gym as we move along. You can stay tuned to our FSN Twitter after the half, or after this game ends, excuse me, for an some in-depth video and score updates from that game. Run to the far side, ripping down there are the Hatters. And the ball gets put in the hands of Jack Pompea, the running back, who gets a very big gain. Timeout is called. No, that is the end of the third quarter. So after 3, it's the Falcons 31 and the Hatters 34. We got a good one in Fairfield, folks. You're going to want to stick around. We've got more FCAC football action in this next week when we come back.
We farm about 3,500 acres. There's pipelines everywhere. The contractor working on my property did not have the lines located before he began work, and it resulted on a strike on a natural gas pipeline. Fortunately, no one was hurt, but it could have been much worse. Calling 811 or visiting clickbeforeyoudig.com in the U.S. only takes minutes to do, and it can save your life.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take...
Back on FSN, Aiden Blank ready to bring you into this fourth quarter. Danbury and Fairfield Ludlowe. Danbury needing a touchdown desperately to even things out as it is incomplete. Got tangled up. But the pass again intended for Taylor Hetty of Danbury, broken up by Fairfield Ludlowe's Jake Simonelli, the slot receiver and quarterback. Just underway in the main gym in the FCAC volleyball semifinals, the girls volleyball semifinals that is, between Fairfield Ludlowe and Trumbull. The winner will take on West Hill on Saturday for the FCAC title. Have that live coverage for you beginning at 2:50. Run to the outside on third and 10, and it is a pretty good gain, but not enough. Danbury's going to have 4th and manageable coming up here as the ball will be on the 36-yard line is where they, way back, the 39 is where they officially place it. Trips near side, takes the snap, fires far side, it's caught, breaks a tackle, and finally brought down inside the 25, but not before a big run from the Hatters. Judamoon Akwe, who has had his name called a multitude of times tonight, gets a really big gain that puts the Hatters in control here in the red zone. This is a handoff right up the middle, and it is Jack Pompea again, the running back, the senior running back. We'll use all 180 pounds of him to go right up the gut for a couple of yards. 2nd and 7 coming up for the Hatters. At Augie Terry, this is a game that they really need to win. With Greenwich and Ridgefield, two of the best in the FCAC coming up to end their season, they could really use this as momentum going into next week, and you're going to need all you can get, as we saw last week. You're going to need all the momentum you can get when you play the Greenwich Cardinals, at home or not. Is Jake Simonelli Jake Northrup exchanging some words with the Danbury squad. And it's more trips, this time to the far side for Danbury, and Hopkins getting the play call. With split receivers and trips to the far side. Man in motion. It's a run straight up the gut. It's 1st down and more inside the red zone, and they score. Danbury able to put 6 more, I should say, on the board, and they make this baby a 1-point ball game, a 1-possession ball game with 9:49 to play in the 4th. And on for another PAT, one which has not been missed by Lucas Amaral. 31-30 your score, Fairfield Ludlowe on top. The kick is up and good. So we are tied at 31 in the 4th quarter. And we got all the rest of the action coming up when we get back. Take a short break, and we will get the rest of your fourth quarter action going when we come back here on FSN.
All right, crew, let's get started. All right.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Are you thinking about buying medicine online? A search for online pharmacies yields more than 20 million results. But which ones can you trust? Medicines bought from unlicensed online pharmacies can be dangerous. You may get a fake drug, your condition may get worse, or you may experience a bad reaction. Don't put your health at risk. To learn how to find an online pharmacy that's safe and legal, visit fda.gov/BeSafeRx. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Back on FSN as we get underway here in the fourth quarter, and that is a chipper that is caught, barely went the required yardage. As we get underway, 9:48 to play in this fourth quarter. Fairfield, Ludlowe, and Danbury deadlocked at 31. This has been the Hatters we knew were going to be the toughest challenge of all the 500 teams for Fairfield Ludlowe this season. Danbury and Coach Augie Terry have certainly put together a great program. The bunch of three receivers is to the near side, and it's an incomplete pass from Wilson. Northrop turned around, but not in time, and with 9:44 to play in the third quarter, it's 2nd and 10 coming up for Fairfield Ludlowe. Again, we thank you for watching our continuing coverage of Ludlowe sports on the NFHS network. We'll have the FCAC Girls Volleyball Championship for you. That'll be an on-demand broadcast on Saturday. The winner of Ludlowe in Trumbull will take on the West Hill Vikings, who defeat the Darien Blue Wave in an absolute thriller to advance to the championship match. We'll have FCAC state playoffs, including a boys soccer game on Election Day, Tuesday afternoon of next week. Possibly field hockey and possibly volleyball in addition on our docket for next week. So stay tuned to our Twitter, FSN_Ludlowe, and our Instagram, also FSN_Ludlowe. We will help you out with live broadcast links, times, dates, tweets, videos, anything related to Ludlowe sports. And if you're watching, don't forget to tell us where you're watching from. Take a picture and tag us. We'll retweet. Wilson to throw. Far side. Caught. Ducking out of it and into coverage before being tackled was Kevin Quinn, who has spent some time quarterbacking the Falcons, but has been moved to a receiver for all intents and purposes, listed on the roster as an outside linebacker. The 5'8" senior will most likely be, will not be with the Falcons next season. So Fairfield Ludlowe needs a conversion on 4th and 3. Wilson a pass. It's a screen. It is caught. More than enough. And there goes Carlos Moreno. His first touchdown of the day. And Ludlowe is back in it. This team just keeps on firing no matter what's fired at them. And it's 37-31 Ludlowe with 8:36 to play in the fourth quarter. That is the start you always want And you can sense that was just the beginning of what is certainly going to be an entertaining 8.5 minutes of football to end this ball game. A shame it never got played on Friday. Going on for the kick. We'll see what happens here. Danbury has come and given their best, but their best just simply on defense has not been enough, as it is another kick. It is 2 out of 3 for Victor Cunha, and it's 38-31 Fairfield Ludlowe. Take one short break, and back to finish off the fourth quarter when we get back.
We farm about 3,500 acres. There's pipelines everywhere. The contractor working on my property did not have the lines located before he began work, and it resulted on a strike on a natural gas pipeline. Fortunately, no one was hurt, but it could have been much worse. Calling 811 or visiting clickbeforeyoudig.com in the U.S. only takes minutes to do, and it can save your life.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
Anyone can fall victim to moving fraud. Know your rights and responsibilities.
And we welcome you back to WFLD and the Falcon Sports Network. After the touchdown, it's 38-31. Carlos Moreno with a big score. And Fairfield Ludlowe right on top by a touchdown with 8:36 to play in this fourth quarter. And a big game on a big night here at Fairfield Ludlowe. The FCAC volleyball semifinals again also getting underway. The West Hill Vikings will play the winner of Fairfield Ludlowe and Trumbull in Saturday's title game. At 3 o'clock Eastern, our coverage gets underway at 2:50 with the pregame show. Return at the 40-yard line, and a big return for Danbury gets him to midfield. So a roughly 10-yard return. But again, when they're kicking it that short, getting to the 50-yard line, a pretty good return. Got basically the entire team after you there, and Danbury will take over and they absolutely need to score. As this game has really become a shootout, it's going to be the first team to blink, or quite possibly the last team to get a possession that will win this ball game, and it would certainly do wonders for both teams' confidence if they could win this game. For Ludlowe, they're coming off a loss, a pretty bad one, 56-7 to the hands of Greenwich, so this is certainly a much-needed victory. Here is the snap on 1st and 10. A give up the middle. Hopkins couldn't get much. And they will have to figure out how to get around this Ludlowe D that has recently in these last couple of drives figured out how to stop the run. And we said in the early going, as soon as you stop the run, you stop Danbury. Trips near side. Hopkins himself, short of the first down, but a good run nonetheless. Is the junior quarterback, QB2. Brings them to 3rd and 1 on the 41-yard line of the Falcons. More trips. Split receivers, one on here and one over the far side. This is a run straight up the gut. It was given to Pompea. He did not get the first down. So it'll be 4th and 1, and a big 4th and 1 on both ends. If Fairfield Ludlowe gets the stop, they can potentially take a 2-possession lead that could be lethal at this stage. If Danbury gets it, they could score and tie us. Handoff. far side. He is met by some Falcon defenders that he gets around, cutting to the 20, and that's a first. They did what they needed to do as Jack Pompea, for the second second play in a row, is able to get the first down, running to the 20. They are on the brink of the red zone. Ball in the 21, it's 1st and 10. Trips now to the far side. They reverse the previous play. It is play action. Split some defenders, but Hopkins hit on the knee. He is down. It's 2nd and 10. Ball still on the 21. 2nd and 12 is coming up. That's what they will rule it in the end. 6.5 minutes inside, 6.5 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. Here's the snap. Hopkins a handoff, and there they go. What a run for Kenyel Oliveira. Get a number for you in a minute, but a huge run for Danbury. In the end, it's Malik Thomas. And Danbury makes it a 1-point game. PAT will tie that. They will go for 2. Trips near side. A handoff, and they take the lead. Same as before, only this time it's for 2, not 6. But just as good a result. They take the lead by 1 here in the fourth quarter, and this is crunch time for Fairfield Ludlowe. With 6:14 to play, they desperately need a score, preferably a touchdown. A field goal would give them the lead, but not by a possession. It would be by only 1 possession. Bunch of Danbury fans have made their way down. All the way down, as a matter of fact. You can see them on the opposing stands. Not many, but they do travel. They travel pretty well at that. .6:14 to play in the fourth, and Fairfield Ludlowe will receive. Howell is going to try and cook up a big return here. Get you a volleyball score in a minute. Volleyball leads Trumbull 15-10 in set number 1. Make that 15-11. So back underway here between Fairfield Ludlowe and Danbury. They love to fake that kickoff. At this point in the game, though, hasn't fooled anybody. Squibbed, fumbled. Danbury thinks they got it, but Ludlowe knows they've recovered. As the signal states, but it was a very close call. Fairfield Ludlowe needing something in terms of scoring here. Kenny DeBlanc with you here in the fourth quarter, and Fairfield Ludlowe with 6:08 to play, trailing the 3-3 Danbury Hatters. Wilson back to pass, avoids a couple of sacks, and finally finds his man. It is Howell. There is a scrum. Howell hangs on, though. Did he get a first down? Refs are signaling yes, and the chain crew will move up. So Fairfield Ludlowe able to convert. 5:45 to play in the fourth quarter. Moving 3 receivers far side, including Jake Northrup, who should be a big target on this play. Here's Wilson in the backfield with a man. Takes the snap, fires incomplete. That stops the clock, though. Something that is a little different. Ludlowe can score, and in which case, if they score, they want as little time left as possible, but if they do not score, they need the clock to stop a little bit. So clock has not really established sides quite yet. As of now, it's in Ludlowe's favor. 5:23 is plenty of time to put together a drive, but if they lose the ball, then it becomes their enemy immediately. Choosing Danbury's side. 3 to the far side in terms of receivers. The snap, looking near side. Same play this time. He's got a man, though. It is caught. Breaks free. There goes Howell. Touchdown, Ludlowe. And Brian Howell brings some life back into the nest. And Ludlowe in front, 44-39. So the clock very quickly choosing Ludlowe's side. They need some big stops defensively now, though. Conversion's going to make it a 7-point ball game. That is if they go, they can get it. They are 0 for 3 on 2-point conversions this evening. 2 for 3 on PAT kicks. And a timeout for Fairfield Ludlowe. We'll take a timeout as well. Come back for the 2-point conversion in the rest of the fourth quarter when we get back here on FSN.
Making is in essence telling a story. Every time I make something, I'm telling a story. When a kid gets their hands on the world and learns that they can make their fantasy play, that they can make their reality, that's power. As far as I'm concerned, everyone should feel that kind of power. So if there's something that interests you, go figure out how to do it. Go tell your own story. There it is. I want to know why you make.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
Both my legs.
2-point conversion is looming. Fairfield Ludlowe on top by 5. Conversion would make it a 7-point game. Again, 0 for 3 on 2-point conversions. They will throw, and they are 0 for 4. Wow, it has been a terrible night in terms of conversions for Fairfield Ludlowe. It's 44-39. Ludlowe Volleyball has taken a 22-12 lead on Trumbull. So they are in charge and lead in the first set. Will most likely win it at 22-13. And, of course, a miracle would be the only thing that would win it for Trumbull. Score now 23-13. Excuse me, 22-14. It's going to be a very interesting night if Ludlowe football can pull off this upset. And knock on wood, Ludlowe volleyball can get to the FCAC final on Saturday. Would be a heck of a day tomorrow at Fairfield Ludlowe. For the Falcons, they would improve to 6-2 on the year. And again, one heck of a season Mitch Ross has put to Fairfield Ludlowe's name. For the Hatters, they can improve to 5-3 with a victory. Clinch a 500 record at the very least. Fumbled a second straight fumble kick on either end. But it won't matter because Danbury recovers. Danbury would have a 500 record to their name if they win. In terms of boys and girls soccer, 24 minutes to play, and it's 0-0 in the girls soccer final between New Canaan and Ridgefield. Halftime is just about over in Norwalk. The Trumbull Eagles and the Danbury Hatters. And finally in field hockey, second half, 1947 to play. The number 1 Staples Wreckers trailing the Darien Blue Wave 2-1. either one of those teams could end up playing Fairfield Ludlowe in the first round. Certainly being a blockbuster night in terms of a football game, two volleyball matches, and FCAC championships in field hockey, boys and girls soccer. And it is a penalty on Fairfield Ludlowe. .434 to play in this game. Ludlow's got to run this clock down to the bare minimum and hold Danbury, something they have not done all night. In volleyball, Fairfield Ludlowe has won set number 1 against Trumbull. They lead it 1-0. There is a stop. Third and medium, and the biggest third down of the night coming up for Danbury. So again, in the FCAC girls volleyball semifinal, it is 1-0 Fairfield Ludlowe in sets, and they have done an excellent job. We'll check in on them as soon as this game ends. 3:50 to play in the fourth. Snap, play action, running, and he is stopped. Ludlowe thinks they've got it, and did they is the question. No signal from the referee. It stays with Danbury, and a dangerous run from Malachi Hopkins that very well could have turned disastrous. Hopkins needs a first down on 4th and 6 from their own 48, and the game on the line here on a gorgeous November night to begin the month here at Taft Fields. Augie Terry giving them their last words of advice before the play. Danbury will not use a timeout. 2:55 to play and a fourth down conversion needed. Back to throw. Hopkins down the sideline and incomplete. And that may just do it here at Taft Fields. Hopkins had his man, but just couldn't get it. And the Hatters are forced to give it back up, and Fairfield Ludlowe can ice it with a first down or a couple of first downs here. The intended receiver was Nicholas Smith, the freshman. Had his chance, but just couldn't get it. 2:48 to play, and Ludlowe can ice it with a couple of knees. It is a run straight up the gut. Clock. It is a penalty on Danbury. The last thing they need in this situation. And Danbury is going to be forced to give up some yardage. Fairfield Ludlowe will get, I believe, 5 extra yards. It's 1st and 5 coming up from the 48-yard line. No, it is the 43. So Danbury in their own territory. Fairfield Ludlowe driving in Danbury territory. On 1st and 5, all they really need is a conversion. The snap, it's directly to Howell. He runs up the gut. Room to go, and Brian Howell may have just won it. The first down with 2:38 to play. 1st and 10. Oh, there is a yellow hanky down. The question is who it's against. Everybody holding their breath, hoping it's on Danbury. 2:38 to play, and the ball is going to be moved back. It's going to be first, and we'll see. Actually, no, they're going to redo the play. So a third straight repeat of first down. 1st and 15 is the call. Ball's going to be all the way back on their own 45. Ludlowe now needs a big passing play to convert. Not impossible. First and 17. Ball on the 45-yard line. Takes the snap. Rolling near side. He will throw. It's Howell and a Philly special. Oh, my goodness. Just short of a first, and the Philly special, it's Howell to Wilson. The reverse connection. And Ludlowe can convert on 2nd and short. Never seen it in high school football. We saw it in the Super Bowl. It arguably won. It arguably won this Super Bowl for the Philadelphia Eagles. But the end around that uses Howell as the quarterback, essentially, and Wilson as the receiver, and Fairfield Ludlowe is going to move to 6-2 in all likelihood as we go just short of the 2-minute warning here at Fairfield Ludlowe. How crazy has this game been? It starts off looking like Danbury just has the edge because Ludlowe D just cannot stop them. But when it matters most, Fairfield Ludlowe makes the stops. And with 2:01 to play in the 4th, the Falcons on 2nd and 1 on the 39 of the Hatters can win the game with a run right up the gut. Danbury needs a stop and 2 in a row. Time is their enemy. Clock will commence. 3 in the backfield. Excuse me. Yes, 3 including Wilson, who runs on a QB dive right up the middle. We got to find out who it gets snapped to, because clearly Wilson not being used anymore as the quarterback. Another timeout coming with 1:43, and the Falcons will stay right here with you. Are just continuing to ice it. What a big night for Ludlowe Athletics this has been, though. After Monday night, with the boys soccer falling to be eliminated from the FCAC tournament, we see football winning again. Fairfield Ludlowe volleyball up 7-4 in the second set, already leading 1-0. A 1:55 to play as we reset the clock. 8-4 now in volleyball. Having a good night so far, the Fairfield Ludlowe Falcons. Now that could turn disastrous in just a bit, but Ludlowe will hopefully play the safe game here and finish off in the main gym. Knock on wood, Ludlowe is continuously in volleyball, not lost a set this FCAC playoff. Sweeping St. Joe's. This is a loss. 3rd and more, and that is a nasty hit. 4th and 6. A 1:30 to play. Danbury, with no timeouts, cannot stop the clock. And the Fairfield Ludlowe Falcons going to win another one. What an unbelievable game this has been. Minute 7 and a timeout from the Hatters. It was signaled. They do not have a timeout left, so I would assume it's from Fairfield Ludlowe. We will step aside one final time, hopefully, finish off this FCAC football matchup when we come back.
Making is, in essence, telling a story. Every time I make something, I'm telling a story. When a kid gets their hands on the world and learns that they can make their fantasy play, that they can make their reality, that's power. As far as I'm concerned, everyone should feel that kind of power. So if there's something that interests you, go figure out how to do it. Go tell your own story. There it is. I want to know why you make.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
Both my legs were amputated due to an IED. It's when you start to try to get back into like an everyday life. I absolutely felt like I lost some of my purpose. There must be something more. When DAV came into my life, they gave me a new mission. I could still...
Final knees coming here at Fairfield Ludlowe. Wilson back to pass. A conversion wins it. Intercepted. No, it's incomplete. Thank goodness. And it was that close to being ball game over. There's still a minute left on the clock, 60 seconds. And Danbury gets the stop that they needed. They have a minute to win this ball game. Wow, is all you can say about what this game has been. A minute 2 to play, and Fairfield Ludlowe needs to get the stop. An entire community watching. And it is another penalty that's going to lose yardage for Danbury, at least 5. Hatters are going to move backwards and quickly. Remember, Danbury has no timeouts. They've got to get the ball out of bounds. They cannot run the football anymore, which has kind of been their go-to play. They could have the first time they drove, but didn't get that far. As Hopkins will run it again, and they will stop him. Not much of a gain in terms of inside the 10. It will be second and probably 7, 6 or 7 coming up. 47 seconds to go. Hopkins needs a big pass. It's another run. Surprisingly, Danbury's got to go into a no-huddle, hurry-up offense with 30 seconds to go. Likely 1 or 2 last plays. This place is rocking. Hopkins to throw. Sideline. Incomplete. 4th down and 5 is coming up, and the game will be on the line. The Hatters get the equivalent of a timeout. With 17 seconds to go, they get a stop, and this ball game will end in the next minute or so. Biggest play of the night for Coach Augie Terry and the Hatters. Everybody on their feet here at Fairfield Ludlowe. And the game is on the line. You can hear it. It's like the Thunderdome here at Ludlowe. The snap. It's a run to the far side. He got out of bounds. 12 seconds to go, and they convert. That was the main goal there on 4th down. They needed a conversion. They get it. 12 seconds to go. And Danbury is going to need to play the long ball eventually. The runs have just killed them. They play it safe. They want to play their game, and they're doing it. 12 seconds to play. Set of the jumbo package. A lot of guys up on that line. Hopkins and Pompeia having a conversation. To throw. Ball game on the line, and it's intercepted. Back of the end zone. They will run out the clock, and Fairfield Ludlowe wins it here at home. What an exciting end to it, as the Falcons will finish off the Hatters on the last play of the game, and they win it 44-39. An incredible ending and an incredible season. 6-2 are the Fairfield Ludlowe Falcons. Wow. So that just about wraps it up. We got to go to volleyball. We're going to get you volleyball updates on our FSN Twitter. But thanks so much for tuning in here on FSN. For our entire FSN crew, I'm Aiden Blank. And the Falcons with the win are 6-2. The Hatters are 3-4. Have a great Thursday night and a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you on Saturday for the FCAC Girls Volleyball Championship match. Good night, everybody.